Coming up on today's episode, I'm cooking your recipe, and we've got another recipe from one of my favorite cookbooks, Vegan for Everybody. We're making energy bars. Not only do they taste great, but they're full of protein and complex carbohydrates to get you through that long day. And yes, my glasses are still crooked. Let's go to the intro. Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. Today we're going to put together one of my favorite treats. It is an all-day energy bar. It's made of nuts and seeds, dates, a little bit of maple syrup. There's no oil, there's no sugar other than the dates, right? And it just kind of keeps you going all day long. They're really good, and you're absolutely going to love them. This recipe is from one of my favorite cookbooks, and I've told you about this before, America's Test Kitchen, Vegan for Everybody. I'll put a link in the description below or where you can buy the book. It's right on Amazon. It's very affordable. It is one of my favorite recipe books, and I cook from it often. All right, stick with me, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Let's get started. All right, so what I have here is a bunch of nuts and seeds. We've got raw almonds, a half a cup of those. We've got some raw cashews, a half a cup of those. Over here I've got some pepitas, which are just pumpkin seeds, a third a cup there. I've got 3 tablespoons right here of golden whole flax seeds. I've got a tablespoon of sesame seeds, and then 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds. So what we're gonna do is put this on a baking sheet and get them roasted. I've preheated my oven to 300 degrees even, and it's already ready to go. Now, the key to these bars tasting good is to taking these raw nuts and seeds and roasting them in the oven. That kind of brings all the flavor out, and that makes it all happen. So I'm just gonna put these down here, and you kind of wanna spread these out on a single layer. You can just do this. All right, they're kind of ready to go. They're gonna go in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Every 5 minutes, I'm gonna take a spatula, a plastic one, and kind of mix them all up and flip them around and shake them out and move it out again. Just to make sure that they're all roasting evenly, right? I want them all to have that fragrant roasted aroma. I did line this pan with aluminum foil, and this is a rimmed baking sheet because you don't want just the insulated flat cookie sheet. The seeds will just go right off the end into the oven, and that won't be pretty. All right, let's get these in the oven. All right, so I've got these out of the oven now. You can see the cashews in particular, they've got some browning on them. The almonds look the same, but they absolutely taste roasted. They're delicious. Going this extra step is really gonna bring some great flavor to this dish. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna give these a pulse and start chopping them up. Now I don't wanna get them into a meal. I just wanna roughly, coarsely chop them. So I'm gonna put them in here and do like 5 just pulses, all right? And right into the food processor, just like that. All right, at this point, we've got the nut mixture coarsely pulsed, or I don't wanna say ground, but chopped. We're just gonna throw these into a mixing bowl here, all right? See there, it's kind of all coarsely chopped. All right, now for the mixture that holds it all together, we're gonna throw some stuff in the food processor. We're gonna start with 1/4 cup of dates. These are medjool dates that I'm using. I love medjool dates because they're large and juicy and they stay fresh in the refrigerator for so long. I've chopped these up. I just cut them and then started chopping them. They're going in the food processor. I don't know that you need to chop them, but that's what I did. So let's get those in there first. All right, so that's good. Then we're gonna put in 1/4 cup of warm tap water. I've used filtered water. I've got the Berkey. So I put some water in there and just warmed it up a little bit. So 1/4 cup of that. Next, I'm gonna put in 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Now, if you're using maple syrup, just regular maple syrup, that's a whole food. So technically, this is a whole food dish. If you're using like Log Cabin or something like that, that's laced with a bunch of other stuff. That's not a whole food, right? So maple syrup itself is. Next, we're putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can leave this part out. I've tried it without it. It does make a difference. It's getting spread across 10 different bars, so I'm gonna use it anyway, but it is optional. I just like the taste with it. And then I've got some ground flax meal. Now, you could have just taken some of the whole flax seeds and put them in a muddle or put them in a little grinder and ground them up and then use that. I happen to have both, so I'm just using the ground flax meal. All right, so 1 tablespoon of that. And then one more thing that we need is a half a tablespoon of orange zest. I've got an organic orange here, so I'm gonna zest this. When you see the lighter stuff underneath, you don't wanna zest that. So you just wanna zest the actual bright stuff. The same thing when you're doing a lemon. So you kind of zest across and just go to the next piece, right? That's about a half teaspoon there, so we're good to go here. All right, so I'm gonna get the food processor going here. And I'm gonna blend this about 30 to 45 seconds. I'm gonna let it blend and then stop it for a moment, scrape down the sides and let it blend, because there's not a lot in there. It's a big food processor, so I gotta kind of keep it moving, otherwise it'll all just get splattered on the sides and it's not gonna blend. At this point, I'm just kind of scraping the sides down. If you like what you've seen so far, please go ahead and hit the like button, show us some love. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. We have new videos every Monday, and you won't miss anything if you've become one of our Plant-Based Dad family. All right, guys, at this point, we're ready to just combine the date paste with the roasted nuts. All right, let's get that in there. I'm just going to use my spatula to kind of mix all this up here. All right, you can kind of see that coming together now. And at this point, we're going to put this whole mixture into a prepared 8x8 pan. Now on this pan, I've got a foil sling. And by doing this, when I put the bars in, when it's time to take them out, I just lift this out, right, without having to use a knife and cut the bars out. So I get them all out in one shot, right? And that's kind of the point of this whole thing. So I'm going to put this in here. And then I'm just going to press it down so it creates a nice, flat, even layer. I'm using the back of a spatula, but you can absolutely use your hands. And there you can see it's pressed flat and firm. I'm going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes. Halfway through, we're going to rotate it and give it some time to cook. All right, so they're out of the oven. They've been cooking for 20 minutes, and let's see what we've got here. We've let them cool for about 15 minutes, and I'm going to use my foil sling here just to move this onto the cutting board. So what we're going to do with this, cut this into 10 bars. So make sure you have a really sharp knife, and let's go once across. All right, and then we want to get 5 rows out of this, right? So let's start over here. All right, I still have my oven on, so at this point, we're going to take the 10 bars and put them on our baking sheet with some parchment paper on it. And then I'm going to lift these bars one at a time and just get them on here nice and smooth like that. All right, so even though they're kind of formed, they're not really baked yet, so they still have to cook and harden up. All right, so you can see here, 10 bars ready to go. Back in the oven, 15 more minutes, and they'll be ready to eat. All right, guys, so you can see that we've got our 10 bars. They have kind of browned and become golden brown. At this point, we want to get them off the pan and get them onto a wire rack and let them cool for about an hour. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to grab my spatula one at a time and just get them in a place where they can cool all underneath and on top, right to the wire rack. These are looking really good. All right, so I'm gonna give these 1 hour to cool off, then I'm gonna plate them up and sit down, and we're gonna see how they taste. All right, I can't wait to see how this tastes. So I can already tell, just holding them, they're thick, they're kind of like a granola bar, except without all the sugar. We use dates instead. So the texture is really good. Wow. So good. So the flavors in here are so wonderful. The orange zest just gives it that slight little bit of orange. It's not overpowering. I guess you could use lemon too, but I'm not a big fan of lemon, so I'm glad the recipe doesn't use that. The orange is kind of a surprise and it kind of ties it all together, but it is very, very light. The dates, What a great way to hold this all together while still using a whole food product without processed sugar. It's completely unprocessed. It is just a perfect combination of nuts and seeds. I've been making these energy bars for a few months now, and I absolutely love them. Have you checked out our merch yet? We're on Etsy.com. Go to Etsy and do plant-based dads. It's all one word. And up will come our merchandise. We've got t-shirts for plant-based dads, and for Lex's channel, Gamer Awesome 2006. There's kid sizes, there's adult sizes. We'll be adding some more stuff as we go along, but right now we've definitely got some shirts up there if you're interested in that. Well, that's our video for today. Vegan energy bars, all day energy from the America's Test Kitchen Cookbook, Vegan for Everybody. One of my favorites. Right below the video, there'll be a link for the cookbook, so you can buy it on Amazon. Click on Show More under the video, and it'll show it in there. I absolutely recommend this cookbook. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Show us some love. What's not to like? If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click on that red subscribe button. It'll turn white. There'll be a little bell. Click on the bell. 2 little lines appear, and that will notify you every time we have a new video, which is usually every Monday. And please leave a comment. Do you have this cookbook? Do you make recipes out of it? All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. All right, let's hope I don't have to say the word nuts anytime soon again. It could get embarrassing. I can only imagine the comments in this video.